Let's do it. Hello, dear friends. Welcome to Responsible Gaming. Welcome to episode number 140 of Ominous Designs. How you doing? Well, very good. This episode is called Your League. This is the Is It League. I didn't have a theme today, so I went into my design vault that has been filled a little bit recently, and I found two gold design of the blue and red variety. And let me see if I can get some light here. Yeah, it's better for me. There is it cards, and we're gonna do them today. But first, we got a sponsor today. This episode of Ominous Designs is sponsored by Orchard Spirit. I don't know, some joke about the liquor. It's hard. So before we started this episode, I decided that I would do sponsors, and I tried 3 or 4 times and I could figure out something, but no joke. Orchard Spirit does sound like a liquor though, so make something about that. Better luck next time. Now, episodes, cards, is it, designs, yes. So I'm gonna get my vault and remind myself or the designs that I have pending, and yes, very much indeed. Okay, so I have a very simple one to begin with. Check this out. It's going to be, actually both of them are pretty simple today. It's gonna be no, it's probably gonna be a sorcery actually. Sorcery. I think it's gonna cost, can I paste that? No. I think it's gonna cost 1 U red. And it's got a text that says, drum rolls, copy paste, boom, gain control of target creature until your next turn. What? So I do believe it's gonna be a sorcery. So basically, oh god. Yeah, well, I guess it might not be what am I doing to start? Why do I, okay. Everything's okay. So, I'm not sure actually the template is quite perfect. It might be uncommon anyways. Gain control of target creature until your next turn. I don't think we do until a turn. Properly speaking, we tend to say until end of turn or until upkeep. If I check out our friend, let's say, how about Tamio? She's a new one. Tamio. Until your next turn. Okay, never mind. So until your next turn seems to work. Now, what do we want a card like this? Obviously, this is a threaten effect. Threaten being this guy over here. Threaten says 2 and a red, untap target creature and control. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. We probably still want that. Yeah. And gain control. Okay. Well, let's just copy that then. Yeah, so threaten, gains control of target creature, and taps it, blah blah blah. You can just use it until your next turn. So yeah, so you can steal something, attack with it, awesome. Now, there is also the instant speed threatens. You can use them to block at instant speed. This guy over here, you cannot use it instant speed, which usually is a huge blowout and makes a card cost something like 4 or 5 on a threaten effect, because you can just be attacked by 2 creatures, steal 1, block the other, kill both. Fantastic. Whereas a regular threaten effect barely steal a creature, lets you attack with it, removes a blocker from the way. Awesome still. This guy does steal a creature old school like threaten, or steal a creature and threaten to block with it basically the turn after, which makes it not that fantastic at all. I'm actually thinking it might be common. Oh, threaten is uncommon? Oh, it's always... Oh, wow. Really? How about... I'm kind of surprised. How about... recent versions of it? So Act of Treason, for example. I think it's common. Act of Treason, 2 in a red, gain control, blah blah blah, exact same thing, common. Yeah. Yeah, yep. He wasn't common in M10, that's kind of fun. I doubt he was much better back then, but they just decided to bump it down. Maybe because there was less creature and now there's so many creatures that just merely stealing one isn't as good anymore. I don't know. So I do believe the main part is that we're leaving this card to sorcery speed, which is gonna limit his power by a whole lot. We do add an upside. That being said, the upside is super fringe. Stealing creature to block with it, not really a great strategy. One thing that's interesting is that you can indeed change a race a bunch. Like if what you really want is to defend, threaten is useless. Act of Treason is useless. Like you want like you're on back foot, completely useless. You're on a back foot with this. You steal their bigger thing, you keep it. They cannot attack with their little things, and you don't take their big thing to the face either. Much better on a defense. Much better. So it is actually pretty sweet from that standpoint, because threaten, like I said, completely garbage in when you're on the back foot, unless you can swing and win basically. So it's actually coming back up a little bit in my estimates. I would gladly throw it out there and let people figure out how good it actually is in practice. Certain effects still end up being part of decks. Nowadays, less in actually good decks, I think, but all you need is a little bit of a format, like an environment that helps it. You want to play a lot of spells, you want to be extremely aggro, you want to be tempo, you get some sacrifice outlets, a couple things like this can make a threatening effect quite a bit better. So I think this is a really cool card actually. I'm suspecting this is the kind of stuff that we could see, because basically what happened is recently, like a couple years ago, New World Order, or like the new type of designs of cards finally accepted that you don't need to do things only until the end of turn, and they started doing this until the end of your opponent's turn, so like an entire loop, and that opens space for a lot of designs. Lots of planeswalkers have been reducing the power and toughness of creatures, or of giving them attributes, so that it works during your turn and during the opponent's turn as well, and that's already pretty darn cool on planeswalkers. I'm thinking, why not on a card? Yeah, so I like that. So I want to see it out there, and I want to see what people have to say about it. That being said, it's so clean a design that nothing much else to say about it. I do believe that if you add a color, you can add that sort of upside. It might make it from a mostly bad card into a mostly good, or maybe very good. I kind of doubt it would be very good, but it would be at least, I think, somewhat good. So yeah, that's the first one. Cool, exciting, clean, I like it. Now, for second card of the day, I'm thinking maybe mythic. We're gonna make a creature, potentially legendary, and it's very simple. We're gonna do so let me see, still sandbagging the design, something similar to this. Whoa. except not. But pretty similar. If you would draw a card except the first one you draw in each of your draw steps, draw 2 cards instead. So there's one thing that I don't understand is I might do that better. I might do that different. I'm not gonna say better, I might do that different. So what I don't understand is why they don't just say if you would draw a card how do you say do you say outside of a step of a face? Yeah, that's the one thing that I don't know how to word is how to say. But basically, I would say that outside of your draw step. And what it does is, well, first you cannot just do instant speed draw during your draw step. Tough luck. You cannot untap. So untap, you cannot play anything during the untap. But the draw step you can. So well, just don't. Second, it's gonna prevent this thing to compound with your Howling Mines. And again, I'm thinking, whatever. You know, you have a Howling Mine, you draw an extra card a turn. This is not gonna make it so that your Howling Mine draws 2 extra cards a turn. This is to use with actual draw effects. And I think it makes the template better, but what do I know? If you draw a card outside of your draw step, draw 2 cards instead. I don't know for a fact just yet if I want to say draw 2 cards instead, or if I want to say draw that many cards plus 1. It kind of depends on the balance that we want to put on there. It seems that you can get double life and draw double cards for 5 mana on an artifact, and I don't think it's sort of good, but it's not fantastic. It's been mostly played super fringely in standard, I think, as far as I know. The second effect, though, let's see, something like, I guess, Giselle. So again, we're gonna hit the same problem. I am not sure I want to do the exact same thing. If a source would deal damage to an opponent or permanent an opponent controls, that source deals double that damage to that player or permanent instead. Gisela costs 7 and is a monster. The card that I think I want is not that much of a monster. Actually, I kind of like the idea of taming it down. So yeah, you know what, let's do a design that's entirely trying to tame that stuff down and see what that would look like. So that source deals that much damage plus 1. I would say something like that. That source deals that much damage to that player or permanent plus 1. I wonder if there is a card that says actually that much damage plus 1. That much damage plus 1. Let's see. No. How about damage plus 1? I feel like whenever you no really the other thing that I could do is, if the source would deal damage to an opponent or permanent an opponent controls, this thing could do an extra damage, which is less oh no, yeah, the problem with that is usually we use replacement effect to prevent well, this would trigger itself actually. That being said, if I set a source other than him, whatever. I mean, this is my wording. I think it's acceptable. That source deal damage to that player or permanent +1 instead. I'm surprised damage +1 doesn't exist, huh? That's crazy. And like double damage though is very common. I wonder if I'm trying too hard to reduce the power of that thing. I mean, not doubling damage everywhere is not supposed to be weak per se, but how about Flame Blade Angel? Is it Flame Blade Angel? Not Angle. Oh, nice. Wow, that's the first time I see a fuzzy search. Okay, weird. Whenever a source an opponent controls deal damage to you or permanent control, you may have Flame Blade Angel deal 1 damage to the source controller. I guess it's safe from a getting in a loop and forever kind of way, because there's a damage on one side and then you decide if there's a damage on the other side. So it's probably mostly safe from that, even though you could probably set up a loop. So yes, so potentially we don't want to have a trigger. That being said, going back to something else, who cares? Like Niv Mizzet doesn't care. Niv Mizzet does triggers all the way. He don't care. Deals damage to a player, you may draw a card. And then whenever you draw a card, deals 1 damage to a player. That being said, it's not damage triggering damage. Screw it. Let's just write it first. If a source other than would deal damage to an opponent or permanent an opponent controls. I mean, the other thing is my wording is fine, isn't it? Yeah, my wording is actually fine. So screw that then. Now the real question is, are we okay with just adding 1 damage everywhere and 1 card everywhere? And I'm gonna say yes. If a source other than, so we don't care about other than, we deal damage to an opponent or permanent, that's deal damage to that player or permanent +1 instead. If you would draw a card at the start of your draw step, draw 2 cards instead. And now I want to know what Notion Thieves. Oh yeah, Notion Thieves. How about that many +1? That's something that exists on token cards, isn't it? Discard a card. If 1 or more +1 counters will be placed on a creature you control, that many +1 are placed on it instead. Okay. How about the doubling season? The fixed doubling season. Isn't there a thing like that? Fixed doubling season. Oh, maybe doubling season is the Primal Vigor. If 1 or more token would be put on the battlefield, twice that many. If 1 or more +1 would be placed on a creature, twice that many. Oh, it's not a. Whatever. Parallel lives. Corp check menace. If an effect would be put on one, put twice that many, so it's always doubled. Twice that many. Okay. Whatever, I suppose. So if you draw a card outside of your draw step, draw 2 cards instead. You know, I mean, it bothers me on a aesthetic point of view, because I tried hard to make it so that it would be that many plus like one extra damage, one extra card, and not one extra damage, twice as many cards. So I'm gonna try and word it better, I think. I am very surprised that there is not a card that does something like that, though. I think Notion Thief also says basically every one card gets drawn by you instead. If an opponent would draw a card, it's instead the players keep that draw and you draw a card. How about is there a remedy that does something like that? Tainted remedy: if an opponent would gain life, that player loses that much life instead. That's not the same. And did I just search that many plus one? Yeah, I did. Plus one. How about plus one? No, it's gonna be how many cards? 17. No, exile creature. 1 plus. How about plus 1? That many plus 1 counter draw instead. If one or more plus 1 counters will be plus 1. So it's probably you're probably gonna do if you draw one or more cards, draw that many cards plus 1, something like that. Yeah, let's just do that. So if you would draw one or more, oh god, what's going on? Okay, one or more, oh boy, more cards outside of your draw steps, draw that many cards, it's plus 1 instead, that many plus 1 cards instead. That's interesting. That many plus 1 cards instead, and I guess that source deal damage plus that. Oh god, it's so confusing to me. That much, really? That many? Oh yeah, but we'd say that much damage. So would you say that much plus 1 damage? That's weird, isn't it? Is there a much in there? Nope. That much damage. I mean, theoretically, according to the template, you would say that source deals damage plus 1 damage to that player or permanent instead. Honestly, when templating gets kind of weird sounding, with my mastery of English, I'm not always the best to decide, so I'm gonna copy what they do. It sounds kind of wonky to me, but also mostly acceptable. If a source will deal damage to an opponent or permanent an opponent controls, that source deals damage plus 1 damage to that player or permanent instead. That source deals that much plus 1 damage to a player. If you would draw one or more cards outside of your draw step, draw that many cards plus 1 cards draw that many plus 1 cards instead. Blech. Annoying. Draw that many plus 1 cards instead. I don't know. Now we want this on a card, on a creature, okay? Because we basically done the ability finally. So I don't think it's very powerful. I don't think it's crazy powerful. What I do think though is we do want something along the lines of, let's say, I don't know, my first intuition is like this, a 4/5. What's really cool with a 4/5 is that it's gonna deal 4 damage plus 1 and it's gonna be a 5/5. People love that kind of trick. That's how we do usually. And by we I mean us designers. Also, I want this to be a biggish creature. I actually don't even know, it might actually be a rare only, because now that we tame it down to not double everything, it's really not that nuts. It's very good, but I mean, there is big cards that do big things, and they're very good. If I kept it a 4/5, it might cost 6. and if I kept it to that sort of body, it would be a weird. That's what I think. And I sort of like it. I'll be honest, I think there's a very big chance that I start looking for illustrations of weirds and illustrations of dragons, and whichever I find the coolest will win, because I think they could be both of those. Yeah, I just think they could be both of those. If it's a dragon, most likely it's gonna fly, and I might make it mythic. If it stays on the ground and somewhat not huge, which 4/5 is like, you know, acceptable, especially if you play this in like a commander environment. This is actually not that impressive at all, and it's most likely where you're gonna play it. So I would probably keep it at rare. I don't know. I might make a rare dragon. Somehow a dragon with a bunch of abilities just makes you want it to be a mythic, and that's my reasoning. And I think that's a good base. I think, you know, it's something that hasn't been done, needs to be done. We're there at Magic, right? In Magic, we're totally there. Like, if it hasn't been done, do it. There's gonna be commander decks. There's gonna be dual decks. There's gonna be, I don't know if there's new cards for dual decks. There's gonna be commander decks, plain cheese, conspiracy, special sets, and a ton of new editions. If something is somewhat cool and different and hasn't been done, do it. Therefore, we're doing this, and I like it. I quite like it. That's gonna be it. That's gonna be it. Now, quickly before we completely wrap up, I want to mention something quickly in passing. A while ago, when I think about the time I started doing the stream, I started feeling like this whole enterprise is taking a lot of my time, and I wasn't fully certain of how much and for how long I want to do this. I've been doing cards for over 2 years now, and I'm enjoying it, but it's still taking a bunch of time, and it could actually go on forever, and I don't know that it's what I want for it. So back like 6 months ago, I decided, well, maybe I'm gonna pull up until episode 150 and call it. I don't feel ready to say goodbye in like 2.5 months now. I think it's probably gonna last a bit longer, potentially a lot longer, because I still don't really have a plan for all that. But I don't know. I thought I'd just mention that's something that's been going on, and like if I was to stop at episode 150, I would feel like I'm kind of dumping it on everybody's head. So who knows? That's something that's been going on in my head. We're not stopping though. I've been having a great time actually doing the stream. It's kind of fun, and I love seeing like the 20-30 episodes that are already on YouTube now. So that's kind of cool. That's it though. That's it for today. Thanks for listening. Once again, this episode's brought to you by, oh no, it's not here, Spirit Orchard. Spirit Orchard, don't drink it all or you're gonna grow twigs or something. Spirit Orchard. Orchard Spirit, yeah, that's even better, because Spirit Orchard, not exactly working, but Orchard Spirit definitely sounds like a good drink. Cool, awesome. I'll keep trying. It's pretty tough improv. Okay, let's try again. This episode brought to you by Cephalid Illusionist. Now you see a tentacle, now you don't see it anymore. Goodbye. Play responsibly.